Anthony Gordon, or Gordinho, has been one of my favourite players to follow in the Premier League this year. When Newcastle spent all that money on him, he was a relative unknown player to me, and I managed to get the opportunity to watch a lot of him for England at Euro Under-21s in the summer, where he made a really big impression on that tournament and on me. I thought, wow, this guy looks amazing, and if he can play like this for Newcastle in the Premier League, then I think Newcastle have got one of the most exciting attacking young players in European football on their hands. And he's had some really good games this season. Every week he seems to improve and get better. And you've really seen that against Chelsea. Now, it feels like all we hear about for exciting young players in the Premier League now is about Jeremy Doku. And I'm trying to figure out why Anthony Gordon isn't quite getting the level of respect, the level of love that maybe Doku is. And from where I'm sitting, I actually think Anthony Gordon is probably my favourite to go on and claim Young Player of the Year if he can keep this form up and if he can keep up this incremental improvement. In the video today, we're going to have a look at exactly where is Anthony Gordon excelling, where is the underlying data that shows that with another couple of performances to build upon, like the Chelsea one and some of his better performances this season, we'll quickly see him jump on top of a lot of the leaderboards for a lot of key attacking statistics in the Premier League. At any point in the video today, guys, if you do laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel. We're pushing for 10,000 subscribers. And guys, I am going to be at St James's Park this weekend to see Newcastle United at home to Manchester United, which for me is one of the iconic Premier League fixtures. I've never been at St James's Park before. I'm really excited I get to go to an 8 o'clock game on a Saturday night under the floodlights against Man United. This is, for me, I hope it's going to be a huge result for Newcastle at home. And normally whenever I go and visit games, it's always entertaining, and normally we get the result we're after, which is great, except for when it's Man City. Whenever I go and see Manchester City, it feels it's always been a draw or they've lost. So looking forward to bringing a bit of party time at St James's Park, and hopefully it's going to be an absolute belter. I'm giving away 2 tickets, one on YouTube. You'll be able to check out the video. It'll be linked at the end of this one, and I'll put it in the description, where it's just a random comment. We're going to give away one ticket to that match to someone who subscribes to the channel, liked the video, and left a little comment. And also on my Instagram, there's an Instagram post out there now where we're giving away a ticket. Again, I'll link that post in the description of this video, so you can go and find it and get involved in the competition for the ticket giveaway there. I'm so excited, guys. Hopefully I'll see you there at St James's Park. And yeah, let's just get stuck straight into it. Now, Anthony Gordon's been predominantly playing on the left wing, the left kind of forward row, because of Newcastle's various injuries and, game rotation, that kind of thing. He's played in a couple of different roles here and there at the beginning of the match, during the match, for little spells, whatever. Over the last 15 games, his average performance out of 100 has been rated at 58, so definitely above the average attacker out there in the Premier League. And when we look overall, it's been very impressive. He's getting goal contributions very regularly, and on the ball, he's getting on, you can clearly see on the ball what he's all about. But for me, it's off the ball is a big part of what you see from Anthony Gordon. He's got a great eye for a pass. He's got great work ethic and great endeavour. And, that 2 sides of the game that Eddie Howe is really drilling into the Newcastle team that every player needs to be a part of, he really does embody that. And sometimes attacking players really do start to struggle to still be a flair element in a team when they've got, 2 sides of the coin to juggle. But Anthony Gordon hasn't struggled with that. He's having to get to grips with it and pick his moments in matches. But as you can see here, I think consistently throughout the season, he's been consistently contributing positively to the team in both aspects of everything, attacking and defending. Now, amongst other forwards in the Premier League, he's got some fantastic underlying stats. Of course, the headline ones: goal contributions, goals and assists. He's 10th in the Premier League, which is fantastic, but he's a genuine goal threat, and he's a really exciting player that gets you off your seat and makes you believe that anything is possible. And a key stat that really does highlight that is how often a player is fouled. Anthony Gordon is joint second most fouled forward in the Premier League. Andre Ayew seems to be a freak outlier in this category here. So if you maybe excuse that, alongside the likes of Raheem Sterling, Wissa and Bueno, Garnacho's actually quite far down on the actual numbers. Gordon's got 27 fouls there. So it just shows you that defenders can't cope with the pace and the guile that he's got at his feet. And how good is this? The guys at QuinnBet have enhanced their UK welcome offer, where you can now get a free bet up to £35. It's for new customers that sign up only. You can check out the full terms and conditions on the website, quinnbet.com, or by clicking on the link that's in the description of this video. By clicking on the link in the description of this video, you support all the content here at the channel, and I thank you in advance if you do so. It looks really impressive to me, but it is 18 plus, and remember folks, always gamble responsibly. One thing I did find interesting is amongst forwards, he is involved in more clean sheets than any other team. And as far as tackling goes, he is, alongside Joe Linton, 2 of the highest tackle winning forwards in the league. Now, I know Joe Linton is probably a midfielder now in most of our hearts and minds, but he is categorised still by some as a forward. Opta. But you can see the statistics that come right next to that. Possession 1, Anthony Gordon at 48. Again, you look at Andre Ayew as a real freak outlier in this one. Kulusevski and Bueno, it's kind of the reasonable range of where you expect. And Anthony Gordon isn't too far behind them. It's really one good match where you get in a couple of these possession 1 statistics. Then you're quickly looking at somebody who's in the top 10 for this statistic, and then not too far off the, the top 5 and that sort of thing. Again, Andre Ayew, a really freak outlier for duels 1. And then you look at the rest, the typical kind of range of the rest of the field. Guys like Jeremy Doku, who everyone is ranting and raving about now. Raheem Sterling, who we associate with winning duels, 50-50s, running down the channel, that kind of thing. And Anthony Gordon is keeping pace with these top-end Premier League operators. Our forwards don't get involved in the play much, typically speaking. So ones that do get lots of touches, you want to make sure that they're making accurate passes, whatever it is on the pitch. And generally, players and teams aren't put on the ball. Players aren't put on the ball regularly by teams if they aren't trusted in possession. If the team don't trust them to, hey, let's put you on the ball and see if you can make something happen. You can clearly see the amount of forwards that get accurate passes. It's generally ones that are very threatening in attack and very safe in possession. Anthony Gordon's ranking 12th in this, right in front of Joe Linton here. I do find it surprising that he's behind Rashford, Martinelli, some of these other guys, which maybe don't get the same minutes as Gordon thus far. But you can see in this chart, you've got the real outlier in Julian Alvarez, and then you've got two kind of firm packs here. Like there's a top 3 there of Kulusevski, Willian, Salah, and then there's a real pack there from Gordon to Ayew of guys that are really within the same kind of range there. So he's ranking, again, just for accurate passes anywhere on the pitch, in the final third even more so, and amongst the top operators in the league. Now, there's only another couple of statistics that I found exceptionally interesting, and one of them was long passes into the opposition. He is second, just behind Dwight McNeil. So these are ranging balls that are looking to break maybe something like an Almiron or an Isak on the counter-attack to go and make something happen. Just with general accurate long balls, this could also include like a switch of play, that kind of thing. He does rank in amongst the top 5, which is great to see, again, alongside Dwight McNeil. Willian is number 1 there. Again, a bit of an outlier on 27. Julian Alvarez on 17, just ahead of Anthony Gordon, who is on the same as Bueno, Rashford and Martinelli. And again, for big chances created, we've got Mo Salah, who is a real outlier here on 13. Liverpool have been very gung-ho. And having seen Liverpool at the weekend, they go out of their way to put Salah on the ball in the final 18 yards where these statistics are really captured. But for Anthony Gordon, it's still be, it's kind of half Salah, but if you take away the major outlier statistic here, he's in amongst it with Moussa Diaby, who's been so impressive, probably the new signing of the season in many ways. Son, as we know, is a top Premier League operator, and he's ahead of the best of the rest as well. Now, guys, I've been quite worried for my Newcastle friends over the last couple of weeks with the amount of injuries that have been stacking up, with the ban that we've seen at Sandro Tonali, and I just felt that it's just going to be a really tough season now, and it could have been avoided, and maybe there will be some opportunities to kind of, get out of it in the January transfer window. I've made some content on the channel. If you haven't seen it, it'll be linked at the end of this one. You can check it out. But honestly, one thing I was really impressed with quite recently, I think it was the Bournemouth match. I don't know if it was his debut, but it was Lewis Miley, the number 67 centre defensive midfielder. He had a great game for me against Bournemouth. Looked very solid and commanding in a centre defensive midfield role. And overall, I thought fantastic. You can see an anchor in that Newcastle midfield. Really allow the fullbacks the width that they command, and then give those midfielders like Joe Linton and Bruno a bit more license. I don't think both those guys played on that day if memory serves, but the purpose of the sitting defensive midfielder to allow that a bit more to happen. I know Bruno does it before you shout that at me, but you want Bruno getting into the box as well. He's a very effective box-to-box midfielder. You want to get, especially with Tonali being out at the moment, the way the squad is, for me, you want him affecting the game, helping winning that. And I think Miley, although he allowed Bruno in this game, which against Chelsea's midfield is probably what could have swung the game in Chelsea's favour pre-game, if you're going to try and predict this with the quality of Enzo. Conor Gallagher's been getting a lot of praise recently. So I think playing Bruno in this position here, and probably against Paris Saint-Germain, is the best thing to do. But it's good to see Lewis Miley against the Bournemouths of this world could play in that role and do very well, because he's not played that role in this game. He's played in a much harder game. He's played in a much more demanding role, and he's came up with the goods. So I think he was a real bright spark that hopefully can follow in the footsteps of Anthony Gordon, and Tino Livramento is really starting to kick on with the minutes he's been getting recently, who is probably going to feature against Paris Saint-Germain as well. So, you know, I'm full of praise for Anthony Gordon. I'm super excited to see how well he did in this Chelsea match. And really, I know Isak, again, was a big part of the attack. Really great to see him back playing. But for me, this game was about Anthony Gordon. It was like the coming of age of, Gordinho almost. Chelsea, big game, chips are down. You've got Champions League midweek. You've got to get a big result. You've got to make the most of it. And, all the best things about Anthony Gordon, I think, really came out in this match. Now, PSG do look pretty formidable. I had a good look at them against Monaco on Friday night, and if they line up with this team, you're going to have some opportunities to score some goals in at them, I'm not going to lie. The defence can be got at. They are going to have a big attack on you, but Ousmane Dembele and Kylian Mbappe do feel like they're hard on form, and that might be, they're going to score a goal or two. They're at home, at least. Maybe they get 3. It's going to be hard to say, but if anyone's going to keep the scoring down to 1 or 2, and maybe even a miracle like 0, Nick Pope is a goalkeeper that's capable of doing that. But when you see the defence and the way the team's going to be lined out, you do expect it's going to be a backs-to-wall effort, and playing on transition and playing on counter-attack, which I think plays into Almiron, it plays into Anthony Gordon, Isak, it plays into the exact way that Newcastle want to take this match, I think. In midfield, Fabian Ruiz and Ugarte, for me, are not going to be a match for Joe Linton and Bruno. Lewis Miley versus Vitinha, if you're thinking about the direct matchup, the man-for-man quality in both teams, is maybe where there's a disparity. Maybe you want to readjust that or whatever in terms of who will be facing up against one another. But I think Newcastle have got the ability to probably control the midfield if they get possession often enough in this team, in this game, I beg your pardon. And that could lead to Newcastle maybe getting a famous result in a game like this, because Donnarumma is not infallible. And this defence, like Mukiele and Takimi, are very, very attacking players, will give the space, will have races with Anthony Gordon and Almiron. When the Champions League group of death was drawn, I went through the predictions for all the fixtures in the group, and I had Newcastle finishing in 3rd on 7 points, beating AC Milan in the last game of the group to seal 3rd place ahead of them in 4th. Would you believe it? The video's on my YouTube, you can go and check it out. I didn't have you getting anything in this game, but after watching Newcastle beat Chelsea this weekend, and PSG, are in really good attacking form, but I do think the Premier League kind of elite athletic performance that you can get from the best Newcastle team might have enough to actually surprise everyone and get a result away in the Parc de France. Where I do start to worry about that is just the bench, and I might just be overcautious about it, but again, I think about these top-end matches, these elite-level games. I know you've done it against Chelsea right here before my eyes, but you need a bench that can keep the quality going. If the result isn't going your way, you're not winning by a couple of goals, you've not got control of the game, could any of these guys actually get you into the game or change a match for you? Not. So that's just always my concern with Newcastle at the moment. I want you to do really well. I just don't think sometimes when Newcastle fans respond to the videos, my expectations and what I would think that you guys should want is, you finished 4th last year. Surely you should be aiming to finish 4th again by any means necessary with everything you have at your disposal. So just with some of the other videos that are going on, that's always my point of view is, you finished 4th last year, and the consequences for not finishing 4th when you're in this kind of ascendancy as a club, like, it's a repercussion that can maybe have 2 years on it. It's about lifting expectations and not settling for like, oh no, we like these guys, because you can really do a lot more stuff now in the transfer market and whatnot. So yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to Newcastle versus PSG. I hope it's a great win for the Geordies, or a draw or something. I hope he's get a great result there, and then it's going to be Saturday night under the lights for Manchester United, which I think, again, watching Man United, I think it could be a great result. I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this one, guys. Don't forget to let me know what you think in the comment section of the video if you haven't done already. On screen now some other stuff that I've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy, as well as that competition video where I'm giving away a ticket to Newcastle at home at Manchester United on the 2nd of December. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.